The cold chamber of the Omega High Council gleamed under eerie blue light. Massive holograms floated silently above, spinning images of a small blue-green world. Earth, the human homeworld. Omega Chancellor Vrax stood before the council, his many eyes glinting with contempt. His voice echoed in the vast hall. "Look at them," Vrax sneered. "Fragile creatures with puny technology, barely worthy of our notice." Around the circular chamber sat the council members, tall, angular Omegas with sleek exoskeletons. Their limbs clicked softly as they shifted in their seats. Across from them, the Xylar ambassador's skull curled his many tentacles in mild amusement. "They are weak," Vrax continued. "Their ships are slow, their weapons primitive, their bodies soft, brittle. They would shatter under the lightest pressure." Skull's many eyes blinked as he leaned forward. "True, but their unpredictability unsettles me. They don't fight like other species. Instead of surrender, they resist, even when hopeless." "It is unusual," Vrax waved a sharp claw dismissively. "Unusual, yes, but insignificant. They are no threat. The Omega Empire will crush them swiftly." A hologram shifted to show ancient script and symbols. Ghostly images flickered, warnings from elder races long gone. These elder species spoke of humans' strange resilience, of fights where humans refused to die even when all was lost. The council members glanced at the images but said little. Skull finally spoke, his voice low and cautious. "The elders warned of humans' defiance. They said humans might rise again when crushed. We should not ignore these tales." Vrax laughed, a harsh, rasping sound. "Paranoia! The elders are extinct for a reason. They feared what they did not understand. We will show no mercy. Time is short. Our fleets prepare." The chamber grew silent. Outside the council room, the moon's surface was barren and cold. Ships of the Omega Empire gathered in orbit, sleek, dark war machines ready to unleash destruction. Vrax turned his gaze back to the holograms of Earth. They cling to their fragile world as if it were a fortress. "But it is a cage. We will shatter it." Skull's voice softened almost a whisper. "If only they knew what they face. If only they understood what humans truly are." Vrax's claws tapped impatiently. "Enough. We sweep them aside like dust. No more words." The council chamber dimmed, save for the glowing Earth images. The aliens looked at the humans as a tiny, trembling spark, a flicker soon to be snuffed out. Far below, on Earth, humans looked up at the stars, unaware of the cold eyes watching them, unaware that their defiance, their spirit, would soon shock the galaxy. The Omega Empire saw weakness. They did not see the fire waiting to ignite. Vrax's voice rang out one last time. "Prepare the fleet. Begin the strike. Let us end this nuisance species before they grow bold." Skull's tentacles twitched. "Bold they are, but soon we shall see if they are brave." Outside, the hologram of Earth pulsed once, then faded. The council chamber fell into silence, but the galaxy was about to hear a new sound, the sound of human defiance. As the Omega and Xylar studied the humans, their confusion deepened, especially when ancient warnings long ignored began to echo through the stars. In a shadowy chamber deep beneath Xylar Prime's surface, ancient data crystals hummed softly. Dust swirled in the stale air, disturbed only by the faint glow of flickering star charts and lost war logs. The Omega scientists gathered around, their many eyes scanning the faded records of elder races now extinct. One aged scientist, Vreek, carefully lifted a crystal from its pedestal. Inside, ghostly images of battles long past shimmered. "These are warnings," he said, "from the Eridani, the K-Tail, even the ancient Xylians. All faced humans at some point." He tapped the crystal. A hologram bloomed, a fierce human warrior standing alone against towering machines. "Look here. The humans, weak by body but unbreakable in will. They fought near extinction and survived." Another scientist, Claire, frowned. "Their survival odds were low, their technology primitive, their bodies fragile." "Why do these records speak of defiance as if it were a weapon?" Vrax's voice grew grave. "Because it is. Defiance and cunning. The Eridani lost entire fleets to these stubborn creatures. The K-Tail sent diplomats to negotiate peace. The Xylians underestimated them and paid dearly. Xyler advisor Skull leaned over the glowing logs. Perhaps we should heed caution. These warnings come from races that vanished. They knew something we do not. Omega Chancellor Vrak's voice cut through the room like a blade. Caution? Nonsense. These are relics of fear, not facts. Humans are fragile. Their bodies break easily. Their ships are slow. They lack the precision and order of Omega fleets. Klar shook his head, but the reports from the outer colonies show humans fighting with reckless abandon. They refuse to surrender, even in hopeless battles. Vrax sneered. Reckless abandonment is not strategy. It is desperation. They will break quickly once we unleash the full might of our forces. A hologram popped up, displaying the latest Omega Strike fleet. Massive UESN-class warships, bristling with weapon systems beyond anything humans could match. The fleet's sleek lines gleamed coldly under the stars. We will crush them before their numbers grow, Vrax declared. But what of their unpredictability? Scowl asked quietly. These ancient warnings spoke of a singular force, a human rebel who inspired others, one who changed history. Vrax waved the concern away. Fairy tales. We will not waste time on legends. Our fleets will sweep them aside. As the scientists debated, Klar accessed another encrypted log, this one from a fallen elder race. The words were chilling. Never underestimate the human spirit. They wear their fear as armor and their pain as fuel. One spark can ignite a star cluster. He shared the message with his colleagues. This is no mere myth. Their defiance is a weapon forged in fire. Vrak nodded slowly. If this rebel truly exists, she could rally the humans beyond our reckoning. Skull's antennae twitched nervously. We face a battlefield far more dangerous than brute strength. Humanity's stubbornness may be their greatest advantage. Vrak slammed his fist on the table. Enough! We do not cower before shadows of the past. The humans will fall. The galaxy will know Omega supremacy. Outside the chamber, distant stars blinked coldly. Unknown to the Omega and Xyler, far across the void, Admiral Elena Ambatha paced the command deck of the UESN Valiant. Her eyes burned with fierce resolve. She would soon become that rebel, the spark in the dark, the defiance the ancients warned about, and the galaxy's fate would change forever. Did you see those old logs, Commander? Anika Farid whispered to Layla bin Youssef as they reviewed the archive data. Layla's eyes narrowed. They think we're fragile, weak. That's their mistake. Anika clenched her fists. Those ancient races died because they forgot what it means to fight without surrender. Layla smiled grimly. Then it's our turn to remind them. The echoes of forgotten warnings whispered through the cosmos, and humanity was listening. But while the Omega and Xyler studied old warnings, humanity was already writing a new story, one led by a fierce rebel who refused to give up. Aboard the UESN Valiant, the flagship of the United Earth Space Navy, the command deck buzzed with controlled urgency. Holographic star maps glowed green across the semi-dark room, casting flickering light on the determined faces of the crew. Admiral Elena Ambatha stood at the center. Tall and steady, with eyes sharp as sharpened steel, she stared at the swirling dots representing the Omega fleet closing fast. The Omega fleet outnumbers us by 10 to 1, Elena said, voice calm but low. Their ships are more advanced. Their weapons can punch through our shields like paper. She paused, letting the weight of those words sink in. But, she added, voice hardening, they don't understand one thing. We don't quit. We carry that same fire. Leela's voice echoed in the room, sparking a quiet murmur of agreement. Elena nodded. We're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for every human soul out there, on Earth, on the colonies, everywhere. A sharp beep interrupted the moment. Colonel Anika Farid's face appeared on the secondary screen, her expression serious. I've analyzed the Omega fleet's patterns, Anika reported. They rely on rigid formations and predictable tactics. Their tech is powerful, but it's slow to adapt. Elena's eyes narrowed. "Their blind spot." "Exactly," Anika said. "Humans are unpredictable. We adapt. We improvise. Their biggest mistake will be underestimating our chaos." The crew exchanged looks. The odds were grim. They all knew it. But surrender was not an option. "Prepare all systems," Elena ordered. "Load the defense grids. Ready the fighters. We're going to buy as much time as we can." Leela moved swiftly among the crew, her voice rising. "Remember why we fight. Remember who we are. We are humans. We never back down. We never stop." The crew's tired eyes brightened. A spark lit in their hearts. Defiance. Elena glanced at the viewport. Stars streaked past as the Valiant held steady in the cold void. Behind them lay Earth, their home. Ahead, almost certain death, but Elena's jaw set firm. "If they want to break us, they'll have to do it over our dead bodies." She turned to her officers. "This mission isn't about winning, it's about proving we refuse to lose." Layla caught Elena's gaze. "And if we die fighting." Because giving up, that's not human. The bridge fell silent, the only sound the steady hum of the ship's core. Elena took a deep breath. "All hands, brace for contact. The Omega are coming. Let's show them what humanity really means." Outside, distant suns blinked cold and indifferent. But inside the Valiant, fire burned bright. This was humanity's moment, their defiance. Just as Admiral Elena felt a flicker of hope, the stars ahead suddenly erupted into deadly flashes, signaling the start of the Omega's merciless attack. "Shields at 90% and holding," reported Lieutenant Haru, his voice steady but tense. "Brace for impact," Elena ordered, her eyes locked on the holographic display ahead. Dozens of Omega warships appeared, their massive hulls gleaming cold and cruel in the void. The first plasma salvo slammed into the Valiant's forward shields. Explosions painted the command deck with flickering red lights. 1 to 3, Hex. The ship rocked violently. "Damage report," Elena barked. "Shields down to 50%. Hull integrity compromised in Section Delta," came the reply. Commander Leela Ben Yusuf gripped the edge of her console. "They're hammering us like we're nothing. Our fighters can't get through their fighter screens." Elena nodded grimly. "We knew this wouldn't be easy. Stay sharp. Launch all fighters on defensive patrol." Outside the viewport, human fighters streaked out in a desperate scramble. Small and agile, they darted toward the advancing Omega craft. In return, the aliens released swarms of sleek Xyler drones that moved like deadly schools of fish across a dark sea. "Fighters are taking heavy losses," Leela reported. "We're losing 2 squadrons already." Elena's jaw tightened. "Hold formation and keep the escort ships tight. Protect the Valiant at all costs." Suddenly, an Omega dreadnought appeared directly ahead, its weapons charging with terrifying speed. "Incoming plasma barrage," shouted Lieutenant Haru. "Evasive maneuvers, full thrusters," Elena commanded. The Valiant twisted hard, narrowly avoiding a storm of green energy bolts that disintegrated 2 escort ships outright. Metal debris tumbled silently through space as the surviving escorts fired back, but their shots barely slowed the relentless enemy advance. "Enemy boarding pods detected," an officer shouted. "Deploy countermeasures," Leela yelled, fingers flying over her console. Small pods shot toward the human ships, releasing squads of armored Omega warriors ready to flood the decks. "Prepare for close-quarters combat," Elena warned. "No surrender. Fight for every inch." The alarms blared. The hum of energy weapons and the clash of metal filled the corridors as boarding teams met human defenders in brutal combat. "Captain, we have multiple hull breaches," the damage officer called out. "Life support is failing in several sectors." Elena's heart pounded. This was no longer just a fight. It was a battle for survival. "Commander Leela, status on fighter command?" Elena asked. "Fighters are regrouping for a counterattack, but morale is shaky. We're outgunned and outnumbered 10 to 1, Leela admitted. Elena's eyes darkened. "We don't have the luxury to surrender. We fight until the last star burns." Suddenly, a garbled transmission crackled over the comm. "Admiral, you need to hear this," Layla said, face pale. "Intercepted Omega signal. They're accusing one of our own of betrayal." "Betrayal?" Elena's voice was sharp. "Who? We don't know yet, but the message is spreading doubt among the crews." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. The weight of suspicion threatened to crack their fragile unity. Elena slammed her fist on the console. "Listen up! No traitor will break us today! We are humanity, shield and sword. Trust each other. Trust yourselves." Outside, another salvo struck the Valiant's starboard side. Sparks exploded across the hull, and the ship shuddered. "Hull breach," Haru shouted. "Pressure dropping fast. Seal off affected sections," Elena ordered. "Keep fighting." The Omega fleet pressed their advantage, sweeping through the human defensive line with ruthless efficiency. One by one, human ships erupted in fireballs, their crews lost to the void. "Status report," Elena demanded. "3 escorts destroyed. Fighters down to 50%. "Shields at 20%, came the grim response. Elena's gaze hardened. "Prepare to fall back. Save what ships we can." The order shocked the bridge. "Retreat? After all this?" Leela asked, disbelief clear in her voice. "Yes, we live to fight another day," Elena replied firmly. "Sacrifices now won't save us all. We protect Earth and the rebellion. That is our mission." Reluctantly, the Valiant turned away from the enemy. The remaining fleet followed, slipping through asteroid fields and nebula clouds, trying to evade the relentless Omega pursuit. As the Valiant limped towards safer space, Elena looked out at the stars, her mind already planning the next move. The Omega had come to crush humanity fast, but Elena knew this was just the beginning. They might seem beaten, they might look defeated, but humans never surrendered. Not now, not ever. As the Omega ships unleashed their relentless assault, Admiral Mbatha and Commander Ben Yusuf prepared to reveal the hidden strength that no alien had ever expected. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in a fortified underground vault, a hidden chamber pulsed with eerie blue light. The walls were lined with cables and neural connectors, glowing softly like veins of electricity. Massive war machines stood silent, their sleek metal frames covered with plates etched in human symbols and circuitry. Her voice echoed in the chamber, steady and sharp. Ships controlled not by AI alone, but by human minds, linked together in a network. Our greatest secret. Elena nodded, her eyes hard. They think they can win by sheer firepower, but machines alone can't match human will. When flesh and mind merge with metal, we become something else entirely. Leela added, the Omega and Xyler haven't seen this coming. They think our tactics are primitive, predictable. They don't know we can think faster, react faster. We're not just fighting with weapons, we're fighting with our minds. The 3 officers sealed themselves inside the neural chamber, rows of human operators connected through glowing neural links. Pulsing lights traced the flow of thoughts as they synchronized with their war machines. Initiate bonding sequence, Elena ordered. Blue arcs of energy crackled as human minds flowed into machines. The warships stirred to life, their engines humming with a strange, almost organic rhythm. Outside, the Omega fleet continued their bombardment oblivious. Suddenly, on the bridge of the UESN Valiant, Elena's voice came over comms. Prepare to launch the Colossus war machines. Engage in neural sync. We strike now. The human war machines burst from the underground docks, their hulls shimmering with a strange light. Unlike the slow, lumbering warships the Omega expected, the Colossus ships moved with impossible agility. "Look at that!" Leela exclaimed, watching the video feed. "They're dodging plasma bursts, like they're dancing." An Omega warship fired a massive energy beam. The beam cut through space with deadly speed. The humans, Colossus ships, twisted and turned, slipping between volleys with inhuman reflexes. "Impossible!" an Omega commander barked. "No organic pilot could react that fast." "They're linked," Skull hissed at the council. "Human minds control those machines as one. A neural network. It's unnatural." Elena's voice was calm but fierce. "You wanted to see Defiance? This is it." The Colossus warships didn't just dodge, they anticipated. They moved before the enemy fired, reading patterns in the Omega's formations. They struck back with precision, disabling key weapon systems with pinpoint strikes. On the Valiant's bridge, Elena smiled grimly. "This is what you underestimated. Our defiance isn't just stubbornness, it's evolution." Leela tapped her console, eyes sharp. "They can't predict us. Every move shifts. Our network adapts in real time. We're turning their strength against them." Explosions rocked the Omega fleet as their ships were caught off guard. Some turned to retreat, others tried to regroup, but the humans were always one step ahead. Colonel Farid's voice came in, steady and proud. "This technology embodies what humans are, flesh and machine, mind and metal, refusing to surrender even when all hope seems lost." A Xylar officer whispered, "They've crossed a line. This is no longer just technology, it's a new kind of warrior." The Omega Chancellor's face darkened. "We face not just ships, but an enemy who fights with the fury of every mind, every soul connected as one." Elena's voice cut through the tension on the comm channel. "You thought we were fragile. You thought we would break. But we are the storm you never saw coming." Commander Ben Yusuf grinned. "We are what you fear most. Not machines, not numbers, human defiance. We don't just survive. We fight. We adapt. We win." The Colossus war machine surged forward, their neural-linked pilots pushing beyond limits. They twisted through asteroid belt, darted between debris, and struck with lightning speed. Omega ships exploded, their shields failing against the unpredictable strikes. The aliens scrambled to respond, but every tactic they tried failed. Leela looked at Elena. "We're changing the battle. For the first time, we're not just holding on, we're dominating." Elena's eyes burned with fierce pride. "We fight because we must, because surrender is not in our nature. This war isn't over, it's just begun." The hidden strength of humanity was no longer a secret. The Colossus war machines, powered by the unbreakable human will, had turned the tide. The Omega and Xylar fleets could only watch in stunned silence. They had dismissed humans as weak. Now they faced the terrifying truth: humans would never be broken, and this was only the beginning. As the truth about humanity's secret came to light, Commander Leela Ben Yusuf stepped forward, her voice steady and fierce against the silence of the stunned crowd. "Listen well, Omega High Council," she began, her words cutting through the cold chamber like a blade. "You think you understand us. You see frail bodies in primitive ships. You believe we break, we flee, we surrender, but you are wrong." The large hollow of Earth flickered behind her, showing the blue and green jewel of a world that refused to die. Admiral Elena Ambatha's face appeared next to Layla's on the massive comm screen. Her eyes burned with unyielding fire. "We are not weak. We are defiance made flesh. We are a storm you cannot calm, a flame you cannot snuff out." The chamber fell deadly silent. The alien delegates, draped in shimmering Omega and Xylar robes, stared unblinkingly. Elena's voice rose, steady and cold. "You pride yourselves on order, on control. You believe that crushing us will silence our spirit, but you do not see the truth." A flicker of doubt crossed Ambassador Skull's face. Even the stoic Chancellor Vrax, towering and imposing, narrowed his eyes. "You call us rebels," Elena continued. "One rebel, you say. I am that rebel. I am the defiance you cannot understand. And with every ship you destroy, every colony you burn, you forge more rebels in the fires of oppression." She paused, letting the weight of her words hang in the air. "We do not fight because we seek glory or conquest. We fight because we will not kneel, because we will never accept extinction. You may have the fleets, the weapons, the cold calculation, but we have something stronger." Her hand clenched into a fist beside her, visible on the screen. "We have our will, our stubbornness, our refusal to die quietly." Leela stepped back to Elena's side, nodding solemnly. "You think you can snuff us out, but every time you believe us broken, another voice rises, another ship takes to the stars, another rebellion sparks across the galaxies you think you've conquered." A ripple of murmurs ran through the alien council. Several delegates shifted uneasily. Elena's glare hardened. "The galaxy watches you now. The oppressed see your cruelty. The hidden colonies listen to our fight. We are not alone. The human spirit will ignite a fire that burns through your empires, lies, The hologram shifted, showing distant star systems lighting with the glow of rising resistance forces. "You seek to end us swiftly," Elena said, voice dropping to a warning. "But by crushing humanity, you fan the flames of revolution. We will turn your victories into defeats, your certainty into fear." She leaned closer to the camera, eyes blazing. "Remember this, Omega and Xylar, you do not face an army of weaklings. You face the spirit of a species that refuses to die." Leela added, "We fight not just for survival, but for freedom. For every life stolen under your rule, 1,000 more will rise to take its place. Your empire is on the brink," Elena concluded, "and I, one rebel, will be the spark that shatters it." The comm channel went dead. For a long moment the chamber remained still. Then Chancellor Vrax slammed a fist onto the console, his voice booming with rage. "They dare to threaten us!" Ambassador Skull's voice trembled slightly. "Perhaps we underestimated their resolve." Outside, somewhere in the void, hidden human fleets and scattered colonies received the broadcast. A new fire kindled in their hearts. The galaxy had heard the rebels' call. Humanity was no longer a weak species to be crushed. They were a storm rising, and Admiral Elena Mbatha was their thunder. As Admiral Mbatha's words echoed through the silent command deck, a spark of hope began to flicker where all had seen only darkness. In that moment, the tide of battle started to turn. The UESN Valiant's crew snapped to attention. Commander Leela Ben Yusuf's eyes shone with renewed fire. Around them, screens that once showed retreating lines now displayed new battle plans. The humans were no longer running. They were fighting back. "Prepare the Retribution and Colossus for immediate deployment," Elena ordered. "We hit them where they least expect it." Leela nodded sharply. "On it, Admiral." "Let's remind the Omega why they should never underestimate us." Outside the ship's viewport, the stars sparkled cold and distant, but now the black canvas of space was alive with movement. Human ships darted like shadows weaving through a dense asteroid field. The massive Omega fleet, confident in their overwhelming numbers, moved slowly, their long-range weapons locking onto targets with deadly precision. But humans did not fight like any other species the Omega had faced. Leela's fighter squadron twisted through the rocky maze, dodging plasma bolts and missile trails. "We're ghosts," she radioed. "They can't hit what they can't see." Suddenly, a volley of overcharged disruptor beams erupted from the UESN Retribution. The weapon fire slammed into the Omega flagship Xylar Dominion, crippling its shield generators. The huge warship shuddered, its commanding officers scrambling for control. "Target their command center," Elena barked. "Take out their eyes and ears." Below the chaos on the bridge, Colonel Anika Farid activated the neural links of the war machines. The biosynchronized vessels pulsed with electric blue light, their AI melding with human minds. Instantly, these machines adapted, adjusting to disruptor frequency, Anika reported. Deploying countermeasures. The war machines darted forward, their movements impossible to predict. Alien sensors scrambled to keep up. The Omega fleet's careful formations shattered as their ships were forced to scatter, trying to avoid sudden, precise attacks. One by one, Omega vessels fell into the trap. Leela's squadron struck again. "Commander, to all fighters, focus on communications arrays. If they can't talk, they can't coordinate." Plasma bursts tore through fragile relay satellites, sending the Omega fleet's orders into chaotic silence. "Now!" Elena roared. The Colossus, the crown jewel of the human secret project, surged forward. Its sleek hull gleamed under the distant sun. Piloted by a team wired directly into the neural network, it moved with uncanny speed and grace. Omega warships opened fire, but their shots missed by meters as the Colossus slipped through their lines like a phantom. "Target locked on Omega Dreadnought, Xylar Terror," Leela called out. "Firing main cannon!" A concentrated beam of energy erupted, striking the Dreadnought's hull. Explosions blossomed across its surface. Fire raced through its decks. The mighty ship groaned, then broke apart in a stunning display of destruction. The Omega commanders on Xylar Prime's moon watched in stunned silence as their fleet began to crumble. How is this possible? Ambassador Skull cried. They are supposed to be weak, fragile, outmatched. Vrax clenched his claws. Their defiance blinds them. But we will adapt. Back on the Valiant, Elena's voice cut through the tension. They count on fear and surrender, but we fight with something they never understood, the will to survive. Leela's fighters launched a daring boarding operation on a crippled Omega cruiser. We take their warship. We take their pride, she said grimly. In the dark corridors of the enemy vessel, human marines moved silently, their biosuits blending with the shadows. Alien screams echoed, then fell silent. Command ship secure, Leela confirmed. Their fleet is leaderless and confused. Annika's war machines exploited the chaos, striking at supply convoys and repair yards. The Omega fleet's losses mounted rapidly. Commander, Elena said, voice steady and fierce, this is more than a battle. It's a message. They underestimated our spirit, and that was their greatest mistake. The Omega fleet faltered, then began a disordered retreat. Ships fled through asteroid belts, desperate to escape the sudden tide. Leela watched from her cockpit, eyes scanning the fading enemy vessels. We turned the tide. We made them bleed. Elena stood tall on the command deck, her face calm but fierce. This fight is far from over, but today we showed the galaxy what it means to stand and fight even when death is certain. Outside, the stars seemed to burn a little brighter, as if echoing humanity's defiant roar. The Omega and Xylar fleets would remember this day, not as the day they crushed a weak species, but as the day the humans rose, and humanity was just getting started. As hope sparked in the hearts of the weary fleet, Admiral Mbatha and Commander Ben Yusuf prepared to seize the moment that would change everything. The battered UESN Valiant limped into orbit above Earth, its hull scarred but unbroken. Fires smoldered in the engine bays, and the hum of damaged systems filled the command deck. Outside, the stars blinked cold and distant, but inside the ship, human voices rose with new strength. "Elena," Leela said, her voice steady despite exhaustion, "they're pulling back." "The Omega fleet is retreating." Elena's eyes narrowed as she stared at the flickering battlefield hologram. The once overwhelming enemy lines now showed gaps. Ships fled in disarray, their formations broken by human tactics no one expected. "They underestimated us," Elena said quietly. "They thought we'd break. They thought survival was impossible for humans." Leela nodded. "They don't understand Defiance." Across the galaxy, Omega High Council chambers buzzed with shock and disbelief. Ambassador Skull paced aggressively, his many eyes darting over the battle reports. "How could this happen?" he hissed. "Humans are weak, their bodies are fragile, their technology inferior." Chancellor Vrax slammed his fist on the table. "We ignored the warnings. The elder races spoke of their stubbornness. We called it paranoia. Now we face defeat because we refuse to see their true strength." The Xylar advisors muttered in agreement, fear flickering in their usually cold eyes. The council scrambled to prepare defenses, but the damage was done. Back on the Valiant, Elena stood before her crew. The dim light from the star-filled viewport cast long shadows on her face. Her voice rang clear over the comm that connected every ship in the fleet. To every human across the stars, she declared, "Today we showed the galaxy what it means to be human, not because of muscle or machine, but because of spirit, our will to fight, to survive, to never bow." A cheer erupted from the crew. Elena continued, "The Omega fleet has fled, but this war is far from over. They will return stronger and angrier. We must prepare." Leela stepped forward. "Our secret is out. The galaxy will watch us now, but we will not fight alone." Elena smiled faintly. "Exactly. This victory is our rallying cry. Every oppressed world, every enslaved species will hear it. We will unite." The Valiant sent encrypted messages through hidden channels, reaching distant rebel cells and secret allies. Across star systems, hope sparked where before there was only fear. In one remote corridor, Colonel Annika Farid worked tirelessly, coordinating repairs and reactivating the biosynchronized war machines. The glowing blue neural links pulsed with renewed life. "Elena," Anika said as she approached the command deck, "we've salvaged enough for another strike. The Omega won't expect us to come back this fast or this strong." "Good," Elena replied. "Well, make sure they regret underestimating humanity." Outside, the stars seemed brighter. The galaxy was watching. Suddenly, the Valiant sensors picked up a transmission. A Xyler scout ship, badly damaged, limped near. Leela ordered, "Prepare boarding teams." Let's learn what secrets they carry. As human fighters scrambled in formation, the boarding party moved swiftly. Inside the crippled alien vessel, the humans found a data core filled with Omega plans and a recorded message from the Council. The message admitted defeat and warned of a galaxy-wide rebellion led by humans. Back on the Valiant, Elena stood before her officers. "This is the spark," she said, "the beginning of the fight for freedom. We will lead the way." Leela glanced out the viewport, watching Earth's blue ocean swirl below. "One rebel changed history," she whispered. "Now the whole galaxy will follow." Elena's voice was steady, fierce. "Until the last star burns, we fight. Because humanity does not surrender. We do not kneel. We rise." The fleet's battered ships began repairs, their crews working feverishly through the night. The distant hum of engines filled space as they prepared to strike again. The Omega and Xyler fleets would not forget this day. They had faced a species they called weak and discovered something far more dangerous, a species that refused death, a species that was just getting started. The galaxy held its breath. A new era was dawning, and humanity stood at its front. End of Section 8.